Just takes a minute to buffer.
No
Oh,
problem.
all right, cool. Yep, we got the live thing. We're counting up. We are good. Okay. It's another live scoop talk. I'm actually pretty excited about these. This is something new that I'm trying out, and I think it's going pretty well. What I love about doing the scoop live is not only do we get to talk to amazing guests, but also if you are tuning in live, you get to ask your questions and you get to get them answered. So if you are catching this on the replay and you're like, oh, well, I want to know how I can tune in live, subscribe to the channel because you will get notifications when we schedule live streams. So today I'm super excited. I have Stephen with us. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Erica.
Hi. And today you have on your Scoop Dudes shirt.
That's right. Skip dudes.
Scoop dudes. All right, Steven. It's been really cool to get to know you over. I want to say it's been maybe the last couple months. I've been chit chatting with you, all thanks to Matt and to Link, and with the sales training that we've been doing. And what I love is you've been putting some fire information out there on how to close poop scooping leads, how to communicate with people, and really how to do this over the phone, which is something that's very new to me. I don't really know much about that. So I'm excited to talk about your dynamic with a job that you have, also with having your own business, and then talk about sales. So are we good to hop into that?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm happy to share.
All right, well, give us the highlight reel. Tell us how did you get here today?
So, about 5 years ago, I was working in the restaurant industry. I was waiting tables, bartending, and I didn't love it. And I was just like, this isn't for me. Like, I wasn't in with the scene. It wasn't the right thing for me. So I was like, man, I want another job. I just want another job. Please help me find another job. And a friend of mine, I was actually living with him. He was my roommate. He was like, "Hey, do you need a job?" And I said, "Yes, I need a job." And it just so happened it was picking up pet waste. And I was like, "What the heck? Like, this is a job?" Because he drove around a really nice truck. It wasn't company branded at the time. And I was like, I didn't know what he did because I didn't know him super well. I just moved in there, and it just ended up working out. So I got a position working for a company here in Maryland, and I've been able to grow with that business. So I started off as a scooper. I literally was hired as a technician, paid hourly to pick up pet waste, and that's what I did for like 2 years, a little less than 2 years, but I'll round up. And then I was actually injured, so I was on a snowboarding trip, fell, hurt myself, and that moved me into the office by accident. I didn't mean for it to happen that way, but I actually ended up getting like a general manager position and sort of growing in my career a little bit. I don't have any super crazy background. Obviously, all I've done is just wait tables, bartend. I was like a soccer referee, but nothing about being a general manager for a team of at the time think it was 7 technicians. 7
Oh,
technicians. I was like 7 or 8 technicians. I was the general manager. I'm still the general manager actually, and now we have 12 technicians, and things are great.
so okay. What was that like going from scooping? You were a waiter, which I believe there's a lot of skills that come from being a server that translate into sales. So what was that transition like when you're like, "Okay, I'm no longer scooping, now I'm into a general manager," and did you feel like a fish out of water?
To be honest, it took a little bit of adjusting, but what was really great is I live in a snow state, sort of similar to you, so it's very seasonal in terms of how busy stuff is. So I came in right at the tail end of busy season. So I sort of just got to sit back and watch for the first like 2 months, and then after that, I got sort of like slowly weaned into taking over all of the roles, and that the role just is ever expanding. It feels like there's just more and more as you get more and more clients. There's just more and more things that come along with hiring new guys, buying new trucks. These, things just grow as things grow. Other things change. So it did feel a little weird the fact that I'm now having to talk. Honestly, the weirdest part was being on the phone. Surprisingly enough, like that was the weirdest part for me. Is like answering the phone. I remember there's a lady, she calls us every single month. And I just remember my first 2 months with her on the phone, I felt so awkward. I felt like, oh my goodness, this is terrible. She has a bit of a personality that's like more, it's personality. So like being able to adjust to a phone call, that was something that I really had to learn that I definitely felt uncomfortable with at first.
Okay. So when you say that you were like, were you doing routes? Were you helping with saying like, "Hey, we need to buy another vehicle for these scoopers. We're having issues." Were you watching and maintaining vehicles too with being a general manager?
So to be honest, so are you talking about originally or are you talking about currently? Like where are
Well,
we at?
originally, because I'm kind of curious what does a general manager do?
Yeah, so at first it was really a lot more of just managing the team of guys. That's sort of something that I took over pretty quickly just because me being a scooper and being, a little younger, like I was sort of more in with the guys. So it's easy for me to communicate with them if they have questions. I'm sitting there in front of my computer. I know how it's like out in the field. So answering those questions, any inbound, outbound phone calls that are coming into the business, that's my responsibility. Any commercial properties, we service a fair number of commercial properties, going to those property management meetings, showing up on site, doing walkarounds, giving estimates on common area cleanings, pet waste station services. That all started pretty quickly for me. I did go along with the owner, and he obviously showed me the ropes. He didn't just throw me to it, but I feel like I picked it up pretty quickly. And now, like my role is just continuing to evolve. Like I don't even know if general manager is the right role.
I get it because selfishly, I'm kind of curious of how that works because I my next step will be a general manager, and I'm like, okay, how do I train somebody? But it's nice to know I could be like, hey, come along with me, watch what I do. It's crazy, but let's go. Pack snacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I just remember that first property management meeting I had. I was so nervous because I thought it was like this super fancy schmancy thing that you had to be like super official at. And what's really nice and what I've learned is like a lot of these property managers, they just don't want to deal with the pet waste. So if like you're super relaxed, you show up, you have a good attitude, you just talk to them like a normal person. That's all they want. A lot of them are super laid back and they'll throw around slurs or whatever and they'll just have a fun time. And I'm like, all right, this is sort of crazy, not what I expected.
I went to a property manager meeting a few months ago, and everybody was drunk, like everybody, but me because I don't drink. I was like, I got to get out of here. I could have played it a little bit better, but I felt so uncomfortable. I'm like, I gotta go. So I left a little too early. Hmm.
I don't drink either. And when you got to go, you got to go. There's a certain point in the night or sometimes in the day that's just like, I'd rather not be here. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think when I go back though, I'll be more strategic now that I know the environment. Because like you're a little bit shocked because you think it's, I don't know, you just think it's something different. And when you walk in, you're like, these are just people. We're just people, and we're just trying to do business with each other.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so for the commercial side of it, so the company that you work for right now, I imagine, is it a large commercial side and a large residential side?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say our commercial side is fairly sized. We have about 80 to 85 commercial clients. I don't know the exact number. I think it's like 82. We have like 82 commercial clients, and those clients range from having one or two pet waste stations to having 25 pet waste stations, 35, I think 30, 32. I think 32 is our most, and we do them twice a week. So like there's a huge spectrum here. We also provide common area scoopings for this community. Some communities only use us for common area scoopings, but yeah, definitely a fair size of commercial accounts. And then think about 725 or so residential properties.
Woo! Okay, and managing all of that, is managing residential versus commercial, is it like 2 separate businesses when it gets to that size?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it sort of is like it's just totally different. It's no, I wouldn't say it's like managing two different businesses, but it's like two totally different ways that they're handled, right? It's, oh, I need for a residential, they call in, you just talk to them. They're interested to learn more and find out about the services. More of the commercial side, they sort of know what the service is, and they call and they really want to get to know you a little bit and see how you work and operate. But then like the residential side, like they're curious, they need to learn. So it is just different. I wouldn't say it's two businesses, but the way that they're handled is different. They expect different things.
Okay. Now, the size of the business that you're working for right now, I'm sure they have their names pretty well known. So, for the commercial side, are you guys having to go out and try to find leads, or are the communities finding you and reaching out to you?
So a majority at this point of all of our acquisition is pretty much inbound at this point. When I actually first got the general manager position, I had more time on my plate. I had a lot more time on my plate actually because the owner was still handling like a lot of the stuff within the business. So I would just like walk into commercial properties, introduce myself, and I actually got a couple clients literally from just like saying hello and asking if I could provide them with like a management plan and giving them a PowerPoint like in a spiral bound little notebook. And it worked out, but it's something I just don't have time for outbound reach right now. And we do get a steady inflow of potential clients. I think I've signed two contracts in the last 2 weeks, just from people reaching out and requesting quotes.
That's cool. So, if somebody's listening and they want to get into the commercial, but they don't know how to do PowerPoint, they're really not too sure, how would you recommend they go ahead and approach a community that they have their eye on?
Yeah. So what I always suggest is get a trifold put together. Like literally just super simple. I know I ask someone to help. If you don't know how to do it, ask someone for help. Like you could probably even pay a freelancer to help you out in creating a trifold if you're like not computer savvy at all. Get that printed out and just walk in, find local apartment complexes. Those are the easiest ones to walk into. I would say the conversion rate on those are going to be lower, but at the same time, it's the lowest hanging fruit. It's easiest for you to find because you can just walk into the property management office because most of them have like a leasing office or an on-site property manager where they're going to be sitting there that you can go and get your face in front of them. What you really want is to be able to find homeowners associations. Those tend to be the bread and butter of commercial contracts. Like they tend to be the ones that we just have more of those. I could be wrong. Different markets could be different. We have some apartments and some condos, but HOAs are definitely the large ones. Just get into the apartments though. Just start there. Go in with that trifold. Introduce yourself. Say who you are, what you do, and and offer a solution to their problem. So I always like to suggest find a community that you drive by and what do you notice? Oh man, there's some waste bags overflowing on the ground, or wow, these pet waste roll bags are up here in the dispenser. They aren't stocked up. Let me roll in here and just sort of just see how they're feeling about it. Get a pulse on the community. Like you can walk in and within 5 minutes get a good idea of if they're interested in your service and if you're able to sell them on your service.
Stay curious. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep, absolutely. That's always a good strategy.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to pause for a second because we have Jeff on and he says hello.
Hi, Jeff.
And then also Jeff's Lawn Care and Landscaping. He says, I think it would be neat to get more into commercial like dog parks. So Jeff, he has a landscaping company, but I believe he started offering pet waste removal once upon a time. I think it's been a couple years at this point.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Actually, at one point, our the local county here reached out to us to scoop 7 dog parks around the county, and it was. I mean, these are massive dog parks. They aren't like the ones that it's like little dainty, like well, no, like these things are. It's like a massive field. And what's crazy is we actually were told by the county that we had won the contract, and we were so excited. I mean, this was like, yeah, we have commercial accounts, but this was a really big a commercial account. And then they like ended up dragging their feet on it. But we would love that too. Like seriously, getting into the dog parks and with the county and with the state and with the, for my other company and with the district, like that would be awesome. Like that is a huge goal, and it's something that almost got handed to us, but I think like with a little more outreach to the county and informing them of how everything would look, that might be in the cards here in the future for our business potentially. So hopefully it is for you too, Jeff.
I can say from personal experience that the dog parks that I work with, they loved that I was a part of the chamber, that I lived in the city where the dog park was, and that's the reason why they went on board with us. Yeah, because they want to support local businesses. So that was really cool. I'm hoping there's 2 more dog parks I have my eye on, and it's really about that relationship building. I am trying to build that relationship so bad.
Did you reach out to them initially?
Um, yeah, this has been like I don't wanna say what the dog park is because I have some local people that are watching, and I wanna keep this one tight to me, but I have a relationship with this dog park, and we've been kinda going back and forth with it, and I feel like I'm close to being their scooper, but we'll see.
Is there
But it's been
something particular?
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No. No, no. It's just been 5 years. It's just been, "Hey, we love that you're a part of the events with us. We love that we do stuff together," but there hasn't been a need for them to utilize our services, but I see that there is a need. So it's just a matter of having them see that there's a need so I could be like the official scooper for that park.
That would be so fun. I hope you get it. That's crazy that you've known him for so long. I'm sure you'll get him to come around. You're very persuasive.
Yeah, I just need to be more curious and I need to be more attentive because I got a little, I don't know, I just got a little lazy with stuff. But the fire has been lit, so I'm like, okay, let's go, let's go to a million.
That's awesome, Erica. Seriously, and I've been there too, where it's like the fire isn't really there. Where it's like it's just a little tiny no candle now. Like things are moving, but they aren't moving necessarily super fast in a direction that's growth oriented or whatever. Like I've I've been there and once you get that like fire back, it's awesome. Like it feels like you're just starting your business again almost. And I know that you're gonna crush it. I know like through our talks, you're just gonna crush it. It's gonna be awesome.
I appreciate it. I think it's important to get around people. I think as entrepreneurs, we're building our businesses and we're talking to people, but then we kind of go inwards because we're like, we just have to focus on our business. And at times that can be really, really good. But if you're not around other people that are inspiring you and like lifting you up, it's kind of easy to be like, okay, I hit this milestone, I hit this little goal. I'm just going to coast for a little bit. But when you get around other people that are like, okay, you hit that, what's next? Where are you going next? Um, I had to start putting myself in those uncomfortable situations again.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, staying uncomfortable, someone told me once that if you're uncomfortable, you're growing. That's literally like the saying is if you're uncomfortable, you're growing. And that's been true in my life. As getting a little older, a little wiser, like I can look back and be like, dang it, Bri, you're right. Like it's true.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure you've grown a lot in the role that you have right now. So I want to transition. I want to transition over to, you know what? Let's talk about the business that you started because I want to talk about sales and I want to talk about what it's like selling for a company that you're working for and then selling for your own company and what that dynamic is like because this is new to me. I haven't heard this story before.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of. As I was telling you before, like just remembering which service I'm selling, and there is a little bit of a discrepancies. Like the way that I've structured my business and the way my service works is a little different than the service that I've been selling for the past 3 years. It's a little bit different now. So being able to do both at the same time, it's keeping that head straight on which phone call I'm on, which business I'm working for. I work full time for the company here in Maryland, and then I started my own business, and things are moving in the right direction. We're getting closer to busy season, so I'm very excited to see how it's going to look during my first busy season with my own business, as well as managing a busy season for a larger company.
Now, did you start your company in the same state that you live in and the company that you work for?
No, so I actually operate in Virginia. I live in Maryland. I operate a Maryland-based poop scooping company, and then like I said, I opened my business in Virginia, which is the next state over. I don't live super far from the Virginia line.
Okay. So what's that like operating a business in another state?
Geez. The drivers around the Beltway are not fun. So operating out of state, it doesn't really feel any different other than the fact that I am literally hopping in the car after signing up the clients and doing that. I'm back, back scooping. So I'm out there doing everything. Like the client reaches out, I reach out to them, I convert them as a client, and then I get them on the schedule into my CRM. And next week, or whenever it is, I'm shooting off to their house and to go pick it up. And driving driving over there is really, it's a big time suck right now, but at the same time I know it's worth it, and it's so exciting, like, to be able to see, like, oh man, there's my first client. Oh wow, I have 5 clients. Oh wow, I have 10 clients. Wow, this is like moving in the right direction. This is awesome. But yeah, I don't know if that answered your question or not, but it felt right.
Well, I mean, I feel like I live in Michigan, and if I were to scoop in Ohio, I feel like it would feel weird. I'd be like, I'm in another country or I'm in another state. I don't know. It'd just be weird.
One thing that I would say is really cool. It's like I get to see new stuff because I've lived in Maryland for, um well, I know I'm doing math here. There's a reason. So I lived here when I was in elementary, middle school, high school, and then I moved away and moved back. So I've lived in Maryland for 13, 14 years of my life. So almost half my life I've lived in Maryland. So I've lived in other states, but being able to drive over to Virginia and actually see some of DC and the outskirts there, it's like there's some really pretty parts. Like when you think DC, you don't think anything but really like city. But like I've learned, like driving from DC to Virginia, Arlington, Virginia, it's like this super pretty scenic route that I take. It's like through the woods. There's like a big park where people are always running, and I just think it's so pretty over there. I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
How are you able to balance the both? So if you're working your main job full time, when are you scooping for your business?
That's a challenge. So I'm doing my very best right now, working on getting some support already in for my business. So how it looks right now is I wake up in the morning, I get started around 7:38. I start answering emails for the main goal is to get caught up on emails, and I usually don't have any phone calls sitting on my voicemail from the night before, because I tend to handle them up until about 5:36. But say I had a phone call, I would handle that phone call if needed. So get everything caught up for the business I work full time for, and then around 11 o'clock usually is when it lands. Is I'm able to get everything together and roll out to go scoop some yards for my business. So I'll drive over there, I'll scoop up all my yards, and then I tend to be able to beat the traffic on the way home, and that gives me about 2.5, 3 hours to finish off the day. At the end of the day, for anything that I need to finish for either company, and then if I need to work late, to be honest, it's been some very late nights lately. Working 8, 9, 10 o'clock doesn't matter. Like if it needs to get done, I get it done, and hopefully this is just a season because working that hard is definitely not sustainable forever. But at the same time, like it's a really important goal for me to not only get my business off the ground, but to also keep what I have running here. So it's just a challenge that every day it's like, let's see how it goes.
I really I I kind of want to tap into the owners of the company that you work for because not I feel like not every business owner would be like, "Yeah, sure, go start your own business. That's cool." I feel like that really speaks a lot to them that they're like, "You know what? You've been so amazing here. We would love to see you succeed doing your own thing." Can you talk about maybe kind of, if you can, what that conversation was like when you're like, "Hey, I want to start a poop scooping business."
So I'll be honest, it was this summer. So beginning of summer, like late spring, early summer, I started. I was like, all right, let me backtrack a little bit because it actually started last fall. So last fall, I really realized that there's a lot of systems in place, or there's a lack of systems in place at my current company. And I was really like wanting to improve. Like, how can I make this company even better? Like, we're doing great stuff here. We're crushing it, but how can we do things even better, right? And I started digging. I started trying to find, a CRM to start using. We grew our business to over 700 clients with no CRM. Like, we used an Excel spreadsheet, and we had email, and we had our phone, and everything got handled on the spreadsheet. All the routing, all everything was very, very archaic, and that didn't feel right to me. And I wanted to find a better solution. So I went out on a journey. And when I say a journey, I mean I interviewed at least 12 different CRMs. I sat down, did demos, sat in hour-long meetings, listened to sales pitches. It was a crazy, crazy like period. And it felt like I couldn't find the right CRM. It really didn't. Like, I told you that we only use Excel. When I say that in practice we did, but we had Jobber. Like, Jobber was a part of our landscape that we just entered information into. When a client signed up, I just entered their information into Jobber, QuickBooks, and Excel, and that was how it looked. And come to find out, Jobber actually was a really good solution for our company. Like, now, like, I'm still building out. There's still so much more work to do, but in terms of our technicians are now using the routing app, or the Jobber app on their phone, and they're communicating with their clients and getting their directions off of there. Long story short, through my research and finding the CRM for my company, I realized, like, this would be so much easier if I had 0 clients, because moving a ship that's moving with 800 clients this way, and trying to get it on a ship that's going the other direction is so much harder than just sending the ship off with 0 clients. Like, I can choose and start fresh, with what works best for my company. So that sort of got my, like, mind going. Like, oh, I could start my own business and do this myself too. I know everything about it. Like, why, what's here to stop me from doing that? And that's what really got me moving, I guess. So let me, I feel like there's so much that happened, and I could feel like I could talk about it for at least 20 minutes. I'm trying to summarize it, but I'll get into it a little deeper. I saw Erica's channel. I saw, like, in this research, I ended up finding Erica's channel and all of her Jobber trainings and whatnot. So that started me down this path a little bit. And then from finding Erica, that helped me find William, with Swoop Scoop. And after finding him, I shot him an email. Like, I didn't know, like, that he had a big group of people that were all together. Like, I just shot him an email and said, "Hey, I'm the general manager for a company on the other side of the United States. Could I pick your brain on a couple things? Like, I think there's some things that we could be doing better, and would love to get your thoughts." So he actually called me like 2 days later, and we had like an hour and 20-minute phone call, something like that. And he sort of encouraged me to take that leap of faith, like, a little bit. He's like, what's stopping you from starting your own business? And I was like, I didn't have an answer for him. I didn't have an answer. I'm like, other than the fact that I'm not allowed to operate in Maryland with my own business, but that's fine. Like, I don't want to step on the owner's toes. I'm very close with the owners here at my current company. So when I came to them and told them, hey, like, I'd like to, I appreciate everything you guys have done for me, and all of the stuff that you've helped build me up to this point, but I'd really like to start my own business, and I plan on doing so not in this market. I plan on doing so over in Virginia. We won't be competitors. I want to keep a very mutual, respectful relationship. And the plan was to fully step away, at the time. Like, the plan was not to be here managing, both businesses, but it just, that's that's what God's laid out. Like, that's where we're at. Like, that's where we're at, and we're gonna make it work. And yeah, I don't know.
No, I think that it's beautiful. I really feel like when you learn something, right, as a business owner, and you help develop people and you see them grow, a lot of business owners might be like, "Well, mad, like, well, I taught you that." But that's the wrong mindset. It's like you wanna build people up to where they're able to improve their lives and they're able to grow, because that's how we all level up. And so I don't know who your bosses are, but I just kind of wanted to, I don't know, give them their virtual flowers to be like, that's amazing. That's amazing that you are not allowing, that's not the word, but like entrusting and encouraging, like, yes, we've been able to build a good life and you can build a good life too. And we're gonna figure this thing out. And it's kind of messy, but like we'll figure it out together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super blessed. Like, I know for a fact, like every business owner wouldn't act the same way. Not saying there aren't some that would, but
Yeah.
there are plenty, I'm sure, that would be really upset. Feel like you're backstabbing them. But like, I think it's sort of a testament to our relationship where it's like, we tried our best to bring in someone else to replace me. It didn't work out. And I wouldn't be wrong to leave and just go off and do my own thing because I've given more than enough time, more than enough notice, more than enough effort to transition the company. Um, but like they're my friends, literally the owners of this company. I've known them for a good chunk of my life, and been working for them and talking to them every single day. Like I wouldn't feel good about leaving them high and dry right before the busiest time of the year. Like we're going into some of the busiest, well, November and December are some of the busiest months, and then January, February, March are nuts. To have to handle that by, you know, after losing your general manager, like I could only imagine the amount of stress as a business owner. And that's nice because I get to look at it from the other perspective too. Like I always try to keep that owner's mentality. And I feel like I always have, even before I owned my own company, like, would I want this employee working for my company? Like that's a question I've literally asked myself in my head. So like they know that I have their best interests at heart, and we were able to come to an agreement to keep me working here. And yeah, my business might grow a little slower, but what's really great is I get to grow two businesses at once and keep a good relationship.
Yeah. And you get to, because you have a job, right? It's not like you're frantic, like, I gotta take every customer that I can possibly get because I'm desperate. It's like you have the job and you have support behind you, which is absolutely amazing. What would you say is something that surprised you versus working for a company versus owning your own company?
Um, the accounting side of things. I just feel so lost. I feel so lost, Erica. Once you step yourself into the owner role, I was very blessed, or I'm a little spoiled actually, because I've had to deal with pretty much none of the accounting, like other than making sure that funds are collected in terms of like recording cash payments and tracking and doing taxes. Like there's so many things that go into an accountant's position, and the owner is like an accountant, so he handles all of that, and I've never gotten a ton of exposure to it. Yeah, I've operated in QuickBooks, I've clicked around, I look at reports, I do basic stuff, I do basic accounting. Like I'd be like an accounting intern almost, and now I have to be like, I have to handle all of it, and it's scary. And like, luckily, he's cool with me asking him questions, and he can give me some advice. And I've been able to actually like bring on bring on an accountant, not like a full time accountant, but they do my taxes, so that takes some stress off of me. And like, that's the biggest difference I feel like between the two businesses, just like the fact that you have to handle everything. Like, you don't have anyone helping you. I don't have anyone helping me right now.
Oh man, it's like the best mentorship that you could possibly get. Be like, "Hey, this is happening. You mind helping me?"
Right. Got to be willing to ask. It's intimidating. Like, I don't know if you struggle with it or if anyone listening struggles with it, but like just being willing to ask for help, it doesn't make you weak. Like it doesn't make you look bad. I've only ever received positive like feedback. Like as long as you're asking someone who cares about you, like they aren't gonna shoot you down and make you feel less than because you didn't know something. And that's been really helpful.
Yeah. John Noonan, what's up? John's in the house.
John, what's up, dude?
He said hiring a bookkeeper is one of my greatest investments.
100%. I'm like that like removes so much stress. Like it hasn't come around yet, but it's removed so much stress because like they do a couple like training classes where it's like, hey, this is some strategies and stuff that you can do, and it's like included, and then they'll like do my filing for me. So like not having to worry about that in a couple months is just that took a lot off the mental.
For sure, for sure. When I got my first accountant, I got what I could afford. then I leveled up, and I think I'm at, like, my 4th accountant at this point.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
You just keep leveling up. I could only afford somebody that I knew from Facebook, and then I found somebody that was in one of the chambers, and then I was like, I wanna move on," and you just say, "Hey, it's not working out. Thanks for your service. Have a good one."
Yeah, no, that's something I didn't even think about. I mean, I'll be honest, I picked an affordable solution, I'd say, and we'll see. What's nice is, like, if I do like them, they do have, I think, like, options where you can sort of scale up. So that's really nice. Hopefully it works out. I don't know them. I found it through someone I trust, and I hope that it works out. We'll see.
Yeah, I will say that, though, at any given time, if you don't feel comfortable and confident with what they're doing, start looking around for another one. Even if it's a little bit more expensive than what you're ready to pay,
Uh-huh.
it'll be worth it.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll
Yeah.
definitely keep that in mind.
Okay, cool. Where would you like to see your pooper scooper business 1 year from now, client-wise?
1 year. Um, you know, I've really dialed back my mentality a little bit to keep things conservative, just considering the fact that I know how busy season for one company looks. One busy season for one company can look like 12-hour days every day, pretty much, and weekend work. And so, I'd love to be in the 200 range. That would be fantastic. 200 clients, whether that be all residential. I don't plan on opening commercial until probably next summer for my business, just because that is a lot more relationship building, spent time on boots on the ground. Trying to learn those property management companies that operate over there. But yeah, if I have 200 clients a year from now, like going into next busy season, I'd be thrilled. I'd be happy between 1 and 200 though. So we'll see. Before I decided to stay on here, my goal was honestly 400. But like I said, I've dialed that back. Like, if things end up going crazy, things end up going crazy. If not, honestly, whatever's in the cards is in the cards. So we'll see.
What's your plan, your marketing plan to get those customers?
Um, so based on my experience, using pay-per-click ads like Google Ads is super, super. I don't want to say underrated because it's not, but super efficient for bringing in clientele for this industry. Just a simple Google campaign has allowed us to grow almost all of our business from that. Like, the first 15 clients, I think, was like more door to door, boots on the ground type deal. But after that, almost everything has been driven in here into my current company by Google Ads. So, going to utilize the same strategy. Also, introduce a couple other things that we don't use at my current company, such as Facebook ads. I've heard really good things about it. I'm actually running some myself. They're different, but they work. And then, remarketing campaigns to people who've shown interest in the past. Yard signs. That's something I'm testing a little bit right now. We're going to see. I don't know if it's technically allowed or signs are going to stay. So I'm sort of like feeling that market out a little bit. I'm sort of open to everything. Oh, my vehicle's wrapped. That's really important. And something that I think is like, even if you can just get like a big magnet on the side of your car or a partial wrap down the side. Our company only runs partial wraps, and they look great. And people know our trucks when they see them. My company, I did a full vehicle wrap on it, and I'm very happy with it. And I think it tends to be a top five marketing stream is to have those vehicles wrapped and driving around town.
What would you say the top 5 marketing streams are?
I would say it would be like pay-per-click ads. We can use that as one or two in your mind, I guess. Facebook and Google, and then referrals, truck signage, and then lastly would be yard signs. We don't do a ton of them, but I have heard people sign up from them. So
Okay.
literally just having a few out in some of our clients' yards has converted us clients. If we did it at a more of a mass scale, which is something I'm considering, and going to be trying here in Maryland too, because here in Maryland I see more or the yard signs. I see them out a lot more. Over in Virginia, Arlington, like, no one has them out. So I'm really nervous that they're going to get pulled out, and I'm not trying to burn a ton of marketing dollars. Another thing I've been trying that has had zero success, but it's not that big of an expense, and I wanted to try it, is going around. Like, all right, I go to scoop a client's yard. I have some extra time. I stop by like 20, 30 houses nearby and drop a flyer on their front door. I don't have the time to cold knock and sell them at the door because I need to get back into the office, but dropping out 20, 30 flyers, it hasn't drawn me a single lead yet, but I'm going to keep trying because I want to see if I can get some clients from it. It would be great to grow some route density off of just dropping some flyers. I don't know how effective it is though.
I hear you. We've done the same. I don't know how effective it is, but it keeps my people working when we're a little light on work, so whatever. Okay. So we're doing all the things for marketing. We're getting people to come to us. When you're on a sales call, what's one of the first things you're kind of listening for that's going to tell you somebody's ready to buy from you?
You know, they call, and the first thing that they say is, "I'd love to sign up for services." Like, that's when you know they're, like, really ready to go. Like, you can tell that they've at least done a little bit of research, they know, like, what your company does. The way that they're talking, you can sort of determine how well they know either about the service itself or you as the business itself, and the more they know, the easier they're gonna be to convert into a client.
Okay. So you're kind of like, okay, is this going to be they just want to get on the schedule or I need to educate this customer?
100%.
So if it's somebody that's I call, let's say for instance, I call and I'm like, "Hey, I want to know how much it costs to get my dog poop scooped."
So whenever I hear something like that, it tends to be someone who's probably just learning about it and thinks it's a convenience. But that also sort of raises a flag, like they might just be shopping prices around. But at the same time, I go into it and really try to sell all the services that we have to offer, and not just like, if someone asks for a price, I don't just jump right into it and say, "Yep, here's a quote." I try to have a little bit of a conversation with that person. I want to learn about where their pain points are. What is their problem really? Because even though dog waste is the problem, every single household might have a little bit of a different problem with that. Like, do they have problems with getting their kids out there to go pick it up? Is it something that they just don't have any time whatsoever to do? They're a busy professional that all they want to do is just set it and forget it and have us go out there. Every person who calls in has a little bit of a different pain point. I feel, there's obviously a maximum amount of pain points, but you get what I'm saying. Like, client A and client B might not have the same pain point, even though dog waste is their own problem or is the same problem.
How long are you usually on the phone with somebody to discover and figure out what the actual issue is?
So what's crazy is, like, there is a wide range. So am I talking to the sweet old lady down the street who really, like, she has no idea. She just knows that she can't get around very well anymore, and this would be super convenient for her. And she has every question under the sun and wants to learn all about everything. And that could be a 15, 20-minute call. I'd say an average call lands in that 5 to 7 minute range. That tends to be like sort of a sweet spot. You'll have people that'll call that'll literally, you can tell they're urgent. They want to get signed up. They already know that they're sold. They just want to get on the books. Like, get me on the phone, get me off the phone. I need to get back to work. I have 35 Porsches to sell today.
And at the end of that call, is your goal to get that card on file?
Absolutely. So for my company, I require a card on file. Everything's pre-built. A bit of a pain point for my other company here in Maryland, the larger company, is from the get-go, we didn't really set up these systems. As I was mentioning a little earlier, we didn't set up these systems, so everything we do is a lot more manual, and we don't require a card on file. We only require payment. The only payment we take prior to service is for one-time services or initial services. If you're signing up for a recurring service, we don't require a card on file. We bill you at the end of each month, and that has definitely caused a lot of problems. So if you are thinking about starting a poop scooping business and are debating if it's better to pre-bill or post-bill, definitely I'm doing both. Do pre-bill. Like, you're gonna save yourself so much headache, so much heartache. It's so challenging. Like, getting someone to pay after the fact is way harder than getting them to pay before. If they don't want to pay, they aren't going to pay after.
So when you told me that you, what was it? That you, if it's like an initial clean, hold on, can we actually talk about that? Because I don't know if I have it right. So say for instance, somebody wants to sign up and they're going to sign up for a weekly service, but they haven't cleaned their yard in three, 4 months. Okay.
Mhm.
So you have that initial clean fee and then their monthly fee. How are you presenting that on the phone? And then how are you billing them at that point?
So when I ask a client, because a question I ask every single client that I'm speaking to, I ask them, how long has it been since either yourself or someone else has cleaned up your yard? And they'll answer that question. And, a lot of them, when it's in that 3 to 6 month range, they'll be a little embarrassed and they'll be like, it's been a good while. It's sort of bad out there. And then I always try to ease them and say, like, don't worry, we've seen it all. We've got you covered. We pulled out 45 yard bags out of a single yard. Don't worry, like 3 to 5 months, no problem. We'll get you taken care of. And then I go into the price of everything because I've already learned everything else that they need. They told me they got 2 dogs. They told me they live in a single family home that's a quarter acre or less. And it's been 3 to 4 months since they picked it up. So I have everything I need to give them a quote now. And after I ease their mind a little bit that, like, this is something that's super common, no need to be embarrassed, I'll roll into the pricing. I'll let them know, you actually qualify for our cheapest weekly rate. I tend to give them the weekly rate before I give them the initial service to make it, because I quote out weekly. The weekly price, if I tell you it's only $25, you're going to be like, okay, it's only $25. And then I roll into that initial where I tend to go something like this. I tend to say, because it has been 3 to 4 months, there is going to be a lot of waste out there, as you know. We'll get you taken care of, but the initial service fee is going to be a little higher. Normally, I always like the price a little higher. So, like, let's say normally it would be 195, but right now we're running a special. It's only 145. It's $50 off, and we can get your whole yard taken care of on that first one. And then once you set up that weekly service, now you'll never need to worry about it again. And I tend to not get a ton of pushback. I know it's crazy. Like, you'd think, like, wow, at that price point, you'd think you'd get a lot of pushback. I really just don't see that many people who are like, man, that initial fee's insane. They sort of understand that, like, hey, this is gonna take a while. You're hauling away the poop for me. It's getting disposed of. It's not going to my trash can. You're spraying a deodorizer. Like, this is a full comprehensive service, which is what we offer here in Maryland.
Oh, because you haul the waste away?
Yeah, we haul the waste away. It's included for all of our clients. It's not an add-on. We have one package with we have one package. It's all inclusive, and you can choose this frequency that you want it. And that's allowed us, I think, to position ourselves in the market, on the very high end, and people who want the service, they want that consistent, high quality, full inclusive service. Like, that's why they come to us.
It's true. Are you, for your business, are you hauling away or not?
I'm not. No, I wanted to stay out of that. I know I see how expensive it is. I see the logistics. I've been the technician that sits in the dump line for an hour. Sometimes crazy stuff happens, and now, I mean, that's all labor that you're paying your guy to literally just sit in a truck waiting in a line. And I didn't want to get into that. I'd heard from other people that people, like clients, tended to not mind if you double bagged and put it in their trash can neatly. And that has been my experience. I go to these clients, and some of them are, some of them are very well off. You would think someone in a very crazy, nice neighborhood wouldn't want dog waste in their bin, but they actually pick up their own when they're on a walk. And I see their little bags in the trash can when I go in there to place my bag in the trash can. So I'm like, I guess people just don't really mind it. So it's something that I didn't know was even an option until the last year, really.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't haul either, and I always said that if it was going to, like, greatly impact my business, I would go back to hauling. But
Because you hauled at one point.
I did, and just what you were talking about, how expensive it was, the nuisance of having all that dog poop, and sometimes I couldn't get to the dump or the other place that I would dump. That dumpster was full because a community member put a couch in there so that I would have to bring the dog poop back to my house. And then I had a really bad situation with, okay, it was a crazy amount of maggots
Oh,
everywhere, like all over the truck, all over my sidewalk, all over my trash can outside. And I live in a decent neighborhood. We have a nice house. I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. And I hate maggots. I hate them.
yeah, they're sort of gross, huh? And they
So
love dog poop. They love it. I don't know. It's crazy. I've seen so many of them.
it's the flop. So that's really what bugged me out. And then when my husband, I had so much in this one dumpster that my husband actually had to go in there and pull the bags out from Spring Rush. He had to unload half of it was a big, massive dumpster just so
Oh
they
my
could dump it.
God.
He looked at me and he said, never again. And then I thought to myself, if this happens again, I'm going to have to go in there. I can't do that.
I'm gonna have to climb in the dumpster myself. Oh my gosh.
Mhm. So
Oh,
that
that's
was it.
terrible.
That was like 4 years ago, I would say we ended it. It wasn't bad.
Honestly, I don't blame you. There's so many horror stories of hauling. Like we had a technician once, and I'll make it brief. We had a technician once. He was with us for a long while, and he had a Tundra, so a full size truck bed. It was a 6.5 foot bed. He had that thing loaded to the brim, like bags, not even double bagged either. Like our standard practice is the single bag or double bag. I'm sorry, inside like you take the one bag and you put it into like a big thicker bag, like 6 or 7 of the white bags inside one big black one, right? And he had not put them in the black one. He just had thousands of white ones, or like hundreds of white ones, hundreds of white bags in there piled up. Probably costed $70 at the dump. It was insane. And it had been sitting there, and then he quit. He just quit. And who was in charge of emptying that truck out? Me, and it was terrible. It was this thick. It was like 2 inches thick of just outside of the bag pet waste in the bottom of the truck bed that I had to scoop out with a rake. And it was the worst experience I've ever had in my whole life. I'm so glad I don't have to haul the waste away. I sanitized my equipment, and that's enough for me.
Same, man. People will be like, "Your car is everything's so clean." I'm like, "'Cause I don't haul that poop away no more." And to be fair, when I did haul it away, we did something similar where the small bags went into the big bag, or
Hmm.
we had a big Home Depot tote, and the bags went in there. Because I told my staff, I said, "Listen, I've went through this before. If you have those dog poop bags laying on the bed of the truck, it's going to absorb that smell, and then the truck forever smells funky." So, I don't want that, so don't do that, and plus it, like, melts and it gets all, like, liquidy. Okay, we can move on. Sorry. But this is the real stuff, this is, like, the real deal about the, like, behind the scenes where it's like, "Yeah, it's nice, the company makes money, we have staff," but this is, like, behind the scenes stuff where it's like, "Oh, no, I got dog poop all over the place," or "It rained, and now dog poop juice just leaked in my customer's driveway." Oh,
I've had that happen once, and they were very upset.
yeah?
They were very upset. They made a phone call and they said, "Do not park in our driveway anymore." And that happens, and it's sort of an embarrassing phone call to get from a longtime client where they're like very upset. Like, "Oh man, there's dog waste all across. Like, you need to come out and clean it up." And like, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, be right out there. Okay, hold on, I got a couple comments, but I wanna circle back to don't let me forget this, about how the payment happens and how we close them out to get the sale.
Okay.
But before we have Jeff, he says he automatically charges more for the first time cleans and tells him if hold on, "If you let us do it on a regular basis, it would be this much more." Yeah, very
Sort of
similar
like a
to
downsell, Jeff, where it's like, hey, if you wanted to do it one time, it would be more, but like if you did it on a weekly basis, I could knock that initial price down to like, $50 off or whatever. Is that do you think that's what he means, Erica?
I think so, kinda similar to what you were saying. It would normally be this, but I'm gonna give it to you for this.
Right. That tends to
Okay.
work really well.
Yeah. I really like where you said that you give them the weekly price first, so it's like that anchor price, and
Hmm.
then you roll into that larger one. Okay, and the second one for Jeff says, "We usually put it in their trash can." Yeah. Same. Okay. So you present the price to the customer, and what if they say, "Oh, that's a little more than what I was thinking."
I tend to like to ask them, I tend to actually like to ask them like what they were expecting. That tends to be a good question to ask them because then you can sort of get into their mentality of like that'll open them up like, oh, we actually had another pet waste scooper and they charged us $12 a visit. And then that then opens a door of why I can explain why we charge what we charge. Like, why don't we charge $12? Because X, Y, I mean, I could go into it with you if you wanted me to, but it really asking that question directly, it as long as you ask it with the right tonality, it doesn't come across as like any sort of way. And it allows that client to then open up and explain what price point were they expecting? Why were they expecting it? Why were they expecting it to be that low or lower than what I quoted? And if that ends up if that ends up being a stopping point, I can then walk them through and tell them, or hopefully get them to understand or compromise a little bit on price. I don't have to do that a lot. I don't compromise on price a lot. Um, but if we're talking a dollar or two here, I'm willing to sweeten the deal a little bit for someone by taking a dollar or two off the service. If that, if that's going to be the difference, I'm already in the area. I'm fine with doing it. Like, but that opening that door is the most important part. Is like finding out why, because then you can move forward in the conversation.
Now, do you have full autonomy to offer discounts without having to go and talk to the owners?
Absolutely, yeah, I do. I have honestly, like, I pretty much. Oh, I think we should increase prices. That'll come from me. Or I think that I'm gonna try charging $2 more for this half acre yard and see the next three people, what is my conversion rate? Or next five people, what's my conversion rate in comparison to average? And like just trying out stuff to see where the market's at in terms of pricing, like that all sort of goes through me. And I mean, unless we're talking about a big discount, which I don't really give, everything, yeah, I have that permission to give the price.
Okay, cool. That's good to know because I'm working through that with my VA.
As long as you trust them, like I
Mhm.
feel like as long as you trust them to like just give them a max, like
Mhm.
I feel like there's a certain point where you don't even as a business owner want to go lower than this pretty much ever. So it's like, hey, like if you're having a hard sell, you can come down a dollar or two or whatever you want to set up, but like set clear expectations, I guess.
Okay, cool. Hey, what percent is your laptop at right now?
It is at 4%. It says I got 11 minutes.
All right,
That's what it
let's do it.
says.
All right. Okay, let's go back. So you have the conversation with them. Let's say you sold them. They're like, okay, great. What are you collecting payment wise at that moment on the phone?
Yeah, so we process all of our payments directly through our website. We use a payment processor, a third-party payment processor. So I'll tell them, great, I just need a couple of pieces of information. I'll gather all their information to set them up as a weekly client. So like their name, their phone number, their email address, um, and their street address. Once I have that, I just say, the last piece we need is just payment for that initial service. Is the billing information on your card the same as everything that you just gave me? And then if they say yes, I just start typing it in. And then I say, great, it'll take me just 1 second. I'll let you know when I'm ready for your card number. They just wait 30 seconds. I get everything typed in, or 20 seconds, whatever. And then I say, perfect, I'm ready for your card number whenever you are. They read it off. I process it. We don't save it on file. It's just a one-time payment. I always make sure to let them know that, because that is sort of an advantage, I want to say, of doing it this way and not saving cards on file. Like that is almost like some people really, really want it, but some people like feel weird about having their cards saved. So like you being able to say, don't worry, we never save it on file or anything, but you do need to give us a call back each month to make your payment, or you can make it on our website. And I explain how they can make it remotely themselves. So I'd say the pros are way less than the cons. There's so many more cons, but if there was one pro, it's that you can sort of use it as like a comfort thing.
Okay. So you're collecting that full initial clean payment before they even get on your schedule.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Some people don't want to do it directly over the phone. That's fine. And this is another fall short moment. It's like we do put trust and faith into these people. And some people it doesn't happen that often actually on the one times, like people ripping you off and not paying. Um, but when you're signing up the volume and not having the systems in place to track it, like I'm sure we've lost a little bit of money here or there by not getting the money when someone says, "Oh, we'll pay on Thursday," and then they don't pay on Thursday. And unfortunately, it's cost of doing business when you're doing business the way that we're doing it, you know?
Mhm. Okay. And then say for instance they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I can I pay half? Can I pay half right up front and then half when it's finished?"
That tends to be a yes from me. I don't get that question a ton. But it's usually someone who's like,
I think we lost him. He didn't have 11 minutes left. Womp, womp, womp. I'm gonna wait a minute to see if he's able to come back on. I don't think he is. Let me send him I can't even send him a text message. Wait, I can from my laptop because I got the MacBook. Oh man, there's so much information. I feel like he deserved 2 interviews. I didn't get to the point quick enough. Let me go ahead and send him a message. Okay. All right, Jeff, you said back. I'm sorry. Yes, the first price is more than it's cheaper if you do it on a regular basis. Yeah, cool. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop off. I'm going to chat with him. What I'm going to do is I would love to schedule. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I thought about getting the charger before and left it on the table across the room. Oh, you could have went up and got the charger. That would have been fine. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up, you guys. Well, hold on. Let me see if he can hop back on. We're already at an hour. See how indecisive I am? Gosh. Okay. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to wrap this one up because we're already at an hour. I'm going to talk to him and I want to see if we can schedule another one to talk more about this because sales are really good. It's good to be able to know how to flow and be able to have those conversations. But I will say this, you could know all of the things, but if you don't practice and you don't role play, it's going to be incredibly difficult. I know a lot of stuff when it comes to sales and I don't practice as much as I should have. And I had an absolutely terrible sales call on Friday with this woman, Diane, that it's going to haunt me. It's going to haunt me for quite some time. I was insensitive. I didn't listen to her and I was just so focused on getting to the sale. I was just focused on getting to the sale. So I'm taking that as a learning lesson to slow down, listen, discover, stay curious, solve the problem. They have an agenda. Take care of them. It's not so me focused. Yeah, let's see if he'll hop back on. A great interview. Can't wait for part 2. Stay tuned. This is the cool stuff about being live. You never know what's going to happen. I got the 3 little dots. Da, da, da. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Him and I will schedule a part 2, and we're going to hop right into the sales. So I appreciate you so much hanging out with us. This has actually been really, really cool. I'm excited to do more of these. Leave me your comments and your questions down below. And until next time, bye.